Okay, today's topic is banning gay marriage has a negative impact on equality. Jamie's secondary claims are 1, illegalization of gay marriage is discriminatory, and 2, gays have an American right to marry. I will respond to Jamie's claim through the usage of counterclaim and the direct attack on the evidence or reasoning used to support the claims. Jamie's first secondary claim was illegalization of gay marriage is discriminatory. Her first support to that claim was judging by sexuality increases discrimination. I disagree with that. In the Baker versus Nelson case, addressed by the Minnesota Supreme Court says, in common sense and in constitutional sense, there is a clear distinction between a marital restriction based merely upon race and one based upon the fundamental difference in sex. As Rabbi Aryeh Sparrow, president of Caucus for America, explained, discrimination means that because of prejudice, we do not allow a person of a particular race, religion, or sexual orientation to participate in our existing institutions or enjoy the same activities others do. Whatever their announced orientation is, homosexuals have the same right as everyone else to marry as defined across the board by our laws, our history, and all the dictionaries and encyclopedias that you can find. The union of one man, whatever his sexual orientation, to another woman, whatever his sexual orientation. The existing institution of marriage is open to all. In another case, a 3-judge panel of the Arizona Court of Appeals found that the state's ban on homosexual marriage rationally furthers a legitimate state interest and therefore does not discriminate against homosexuals by depriving them of their constitutional rights. The court further noted that recognizing a right to marry someone of the same sex would not expand the established right to marry, but would redefine the legal meaning of marriage. Jamie's secondary support was the legalization of marriage. Gay marriage increases intolerance of gays. Jamie provided evidence by referencing a woman by the name of Beth Allen, who is nobody with authority and credential. The website that Jamie used was associatedcontent.com, which is a website that allows anyone to participate by publishing content on any topic in any format and get paid if consumers, partners, or advertisers favor it. Jamie's third support is gay discrimination makes an individual a second-class citizen. As I already explained, opposing gay marriage is not discrimination, and therefore this support can be voided. Lastly, Jamie's fourth support that denying the gays the right to marry is a violation of religious freedom. I believe that this support is used incorrectly because it is a claim and not a support for her secondary claim that illegalization of gay marriage is discriminatory. This results Jamie to have a mixture of issues within her first secondary claim. Jamie's secondary claim was gays have an American right to marry. Her first support was the Declaration of Independence guarantees all men and women are created equal in the pursuit of happiness. As Professor Kirkham explained, mentioning that all men and women in the Declaration of Independence and that Jamie was trying to point out the growth of the way the rights have evolved over time. However, that shouldn't be her argument. Her argument should be that her argument should be concentrating on how it exists and is denied. Jamie's second support was the First Amendment in the Constitution states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free access thereof. Therefore, practice of gay marriage is lawful through exercising their religion. Jamie committed the fallacy of equivocation by stating that marriage and religion have the same meaning. In fact, they do not. Marriage is a civil contract. And Jamie's secondary claims are legalization of gay marriage is discriminatory and gays have an American right to marry. Both claims were supported either by incorrect definition, inappropriate referencing, fallacy of irrelevant argument and equivocation, And in conclusion, I have proved that Jamie's conclusion of banning gay marriage have a negative impact on equality as faulty.
All right, you labeled the claims clearly. The signpost on the first point was easy to follow, although about halfway through the argument, I think some of the issues started to run together. The information on the court ruling and the explanation about what discrimination constitutes, I thought that was relatively clear, and the argument about the legitimate state interest and defining, what the rights are in that situation, I thought that was clear. Then it sounded like you were making a transition to a second point, but it's actually more information on the first point. There's a challenge on another point there. It sounds like you're making a begging the question charge, but it wasn't clear how that worked. Then you get to the second point, and I think that that's where things are a little unclear as you go along. You make the argument about marriage and religion not being the same thing as the question of equivocation. Doesn't it sound like somebody keeps knocking at the door? It's a little annoying, yes. And I think your explanation there was a little bit thin, and then some of the following arguments, they're not developed clearly enough. But the signposting was clear on the first and the second point, and then, like I said, I thought you had very good arguments on the first half of the first part of the argument. All right, thank you.